in Gita that you have just narrated is telling you is of the final stage which a human being can reach. You can't reach it by just deciding to be that way. Otherwise it's so easy, sir. We all agree that we should be non-violent. From tomorrow be non-violent, that's all. Finished, full stop. Then you don't need anything else. But how will you get that hatred out of your heart? There is a whole process behind it. And this ego process. And so long as that is there, you are feeling jealous, you are getting angry, you are getting upset. Right? So unless you end the causation within yourself, you can't come to that state which Gita has proclaimed. That is the final state, but how do you arrive there is the art of learning. There is that beautiful poem called The If by Rudyard Kipling. If you read that, it tells you all this. You face victory and defeat in the same way and so on. Yes, how do you decide to do that? You have to come upon that state of mind in which you can do that. And that is the art of living. சொல்லுங்க அம்மா.
என்ன சொல்லணும்னாக்கா these causes come unawares, they crop up unawares,
Yes.
minute to minute, hour to hour, second to second. And how to get this fine balance by working upon it, we have to, you said we have to work for it. And that means it is action, again activity. And is it possible to just to be aware of that, all these causes?
I got the question.
Like
She's saying, because I think it was not audible to all of you, I'll repeat the question. She's saying all these causes operate within us unawares, and what we perceive are the effects. That's true. So, how to become aware of the causes? Now, when we are asking how, we are usually, our conditioning is that tell me a method, tell me a procedure by which I can come to that state. Okay, then I will practice that procedure because procedures can be followed by decision. I can sit in a particular pose in asana and I can close my eyes and so on. Not so easy to stop thought, but you can try to pull your mind back and so on. Try that. You will find that there is constant battle going on. The thoughts are wandering and another thought is saying, don't let it wander, you're pulling it back and this conflict is going on. And see whether that conflict ultimately brings you to peace. If you do, good luck. But if you don't, then you have to learn that this doesn't work. This method doesn't work. What Krishnaji is saying is there is another way of approaching this. And that is, I just watch and I see that this anger builds up in me. I don't know why it builds up. That's a state of humility, to say that I don't know. But not resignation, not saying therefore it ends here. I am enthusiastic, I am learning about myself, which is also all humanity, because all human consciousness functions the same way. So when I am learning about it, by watching my own consciousness, it's not just my consciousness I am learning about, I am learning about all of human consciousness. It functions the same way. Fear comes to you the same reason it comes to the Pakistani or the Chinese or the Christian or the Hindu. It happens the same way. Desire has the same consequences and so on. So, but I can't watch what is happening in your consciousness. What you do in science is watching the outside world. Here, I can only watch within myself. I can be aware of my own motivations, my own approach, and work on that. I can't be aware of the motives with which you are operating. So, this is the laboratory in which I have to learn about myself, that myself is operating in there. I watch it in order to learn it with interest. And particularly whenever some conflict, some pain arises, it is telling me, Krishna, there is somewhere you have not understood, your mind is not clear, that's why it has happened. There is some assumption, some illusion in your mind from where this is arising. Find out why, what it is, and end it. There is no method for finding out. You see, methods are always in the known. There is no method to approach the unknown. There is only a spirit of wonder, of inquiry, in which you can approach the unknown. And the truth comes like a revelation, like a flash. If you ask, how does the truth come? There is no method for it. But you can ask, what blocks the revelation? If you are too sure of your opinions, it blocks. If you are attached to a particular view, it blocks. Right? So you have to get, what you can consciously do is be aware of the blocks and eliminate them. But you can't ensure that you will have that flash of insight. Krishnaji gave a very interesting metaphor to explain this. He said, you must keep the doors and windows of your room open, otherwise the wind can't come in. But because you now keep the doors and windows open, you can't insist that the wind must blow. It's like that. You keep your doors and windows of your mind open. If you keep them shut, like Hitler kept them shut, he never learned anything. He went on with his own mission. Keep them open. Have some doubt. Have some inquiry. That keeps it open. Have a sense of wonder. That keeps it open. Because you keep it open, now to say, I must get that insight, is greed. Why should all the truth come to me? Even when I learned physics, I couldn't insist that I will learn only if I get all the understanding. No, you get as much understanding as is in your cup. And that's another metaphor he said, He said, sir, you all come with such small cups, come with big buckets. Right? There is an interesting anecdote there, probably a true anecdote, that U.G. Krishnamurti, he was another sort of guru, who was a bit arrogant in his way of looking at gurus and so on. So he goes to Ramana and says, Ramana, can you give me enlightenment? So Ramana smiles and says, yes, can you take it? The ability to receive is more important than the ability to teach. And that's another very important part of Krishnamurti's teaching. That you can learn by simply listening. Listen to the bird. Listen to the wind. Listen to your son. Listen to Hitler give the speech. Don't accept, don't reject. Pick up the truths out of his statements, drop the rest. That's the art of living. How to listen. Neither accept nor reject. Consider. Pick up the truth, drop everything else, no reaction. That's an art of living. You have to discover that art of living. If there is strong reaction from within, your conditioning is continuously disturbing your meditation, your thoughts. If you have a chattering mind, you can't listen. Before he has finished his sentence, you have made up your mind and your mind is attacking and all that. So you're listening to yourself, you're not listening to the sound of the other. So all that is also an art, how to listen. In other words, there is no fixed path, Amma. There is no fixed method we can learn to get there. It just comes like that, like revelation.
Excuse me, there's another question.
Yeah.
Afterwards you can listen.
You said that you were attracted to Krishnamurti and to physics because both had in common a certain inquiry into the effect and the cause of the effect. And you talked a great deal about the art of living in daily life, bringing about order in daily life. Krishnamurti also talked about going beyond thought, of a dimension beyond thought. I just wanted your response, your investigation.
Yes. First, one has to understand this faculty of thinking. It's there in us, and what is its right place in our life. That means I have to find out where it is healthy, it is normal, it's useful, to use thought, to use imagination, and where it has no role at all. Not form opinions about it, learn about it. Now, if you say no thought, how do you go home from here? How do you plan anything? So obviously it is that goes wrong. If you think through thinking you will come upon love, find out whether thought can create love. So when you examine it that way, you will discover that thought is a response from your memory. And that memory contains all the conditioning which you have acquired from your environment, which was just an accident of birth, that you were born in a particular family with a particular religion, with a particular way of life, particular food and so on. All that you have acquired in imitation. So thought is a very limited instrument because your memories are just based on your experiences, your knowledge, your conclusions, your conditioning, and all that it is held there. It's a very limited instrument. Powerful instrument, but a very limited instrument. It is also a colored instrument. So it's not a good instrument. It's all right to use thought for how to make a school, building and so on, but not a good instrument for discovering what non-violence is, what the ending of violence is, or what virtue is. You won't be able to find out through thinking it, because the Christian will think differently, the Hindu will think differently, the Muslim thinks differently, the atheist and the communist thinks differently. All of them are thinking according to their conditioning. That's not the universal truth. So you can't come upon the universal truth, which is the unknown, through an instrument which is born of the known. There are limits of the known, and beyond that is the unknown. The value of thought in this field, I think, is in creating a question. Also in communicating with a friend. I have to put my meaning into a thought and communicate it to you. There it has value. If you know the meaning of the words I am using, you catch the meaning that I am trying to convey, and then you can respond to that and so on. So you can have a dialogue about it. But in trying to discover the unknown, it has only the value of creating the question. Then you are left with a sense of wonder. What is it? I don't really know. The known is not helping me to get this, because with the known I can do analysis and so on. But this is not amenable to analysis. So then the question is there an element, is there a faculty other than thought? And the answer is yes. You have the faculty of awareness. Awareness is not a thought faculty. Let's examine that. I look at that tree and I see the whole tree. But what does thought do if I have to communicate to you? It says it is so high, it has green leaves, it has this kind of stem and so on. It will talk about bit by bit. It'll, and then ask you to put all that picture. You are not seeing the tree. You are only reading the description. Right? That's not the tree. And that's what repeatedly Krishnaji says, the word is not the thing. The description is not the described. Right? But when you look at it and when you are aware of it, it has a holistic perception. I see the whole of the tree. I can even look at the tree without thinking about it. So we have a faculty which is not a thought faculty, which is what distinguishes us from computers. Computers have memory, computers have capacity for thinking, they can do calculations and so on faster than the best human mind. The only thing that really distinguishes us from computers is this quality of awareness. And the scientists don't know what awareness is and how it arose. They don't know. We don't know. It's a mystery. Because of that, all discoveries have been possible. How does a human mind discover something that was not known? Not invented by putting two and two together, that's an invention. All these new gadgets coming, those are inventions. But creativity. How does the mind come upon a revelation of something that was not known before? Whether in art, in music, in science, in religion. How does it come up? It can't come upon if it had only the thought faculty. And imagination is also limited by memory and experience. But there is this mysterious capacity in the human consciousness, and it's there in all of us, which has this, that if you live with a question and you are wondering, suddenly a perception comes into your mind. You don't even know from where it comes. That's how all great discoveries have been made. You bring the unknown into the known through that. Then you describe it in language or in mathematics, or depending on which field it is, or you sing it. But if you read, I don't know whether it was Beethoven or Mozart, he said, I don't think out my music. I just sit there, tune my piano, tune my mind, and it flows. It flows and the fingers move and the music comes. I have not thought out. Krishnamurti says the same thing about his teaching. He says, it's not my teaching. I have not thought out this teaching. It came to him like a revelation. If you ask how, there is no how. He broke through that barrier of thought and memory and conditioning, broke through that, which is like dying to the past. You can't do it through decision. But people like him are pointing out to us what potential there is in human consciousness, that you can reach that state. You may not. You may not be able to. But that a human being can reach that state. Buddha, Jesus, Krishnamurti, they all broke away from the past. Kabir, Ramana, not even educated people, uneducated people, broke away from their past. That was, how does that happen? Don't know. There is no how. There is no method, there is no technique, there is not a causation. But you can talk the other way around. What blocks that from happening? The attachment to the known. If you are all the time dependent on the known and so on, the unknown won't come to you. As in science, as in art, as in music, so in religion. But the capacity, that's why it is, you have to discover. Discovery is from the unknown. Truth is unknown. What you know is not the truth. You may think it is the truth. Often it is not the truth and it's an illusion. That's what an illusion is.
One last question.
Okay?
Sir, with respect to your statement, need, and a person has to see beyond the need, vision or wisdom. But need differs from person to person. It differs from my lens and as well as my brother's lens. When we often discuss, my need is different and his need is different. And his need may look to me as a greedy and my need may look to him as a greedy. how to differentiate and how to draw a line in an imaginary discussion like need. My need is different from your need. And as we go with Kano model, minimum requirement, mandatory and comfort. Tomorrow's comfort may be today's need sometimes,
Yes.
at times. That is a continuous line. Minimum requirement, it's mandatory requirement and comfort. After 10 days, comfort may be today, it may be mandatory requirement for me, may not be forever also.
Yeah. So your observation itself is proving that it's not a fixed thing where you can make a formula which works. You have to be watching, you must learn this and arrive at this from moment to moment, because things change and it's different from person to person. So there is no fixed answer to these, and all fixed answers are only approximations and are wrong, because all of us are different from each other. We are also very similar, because we have the same kind of, basically the same body, the same consciousness. It functions the same way, the causation is the same. There is intelligence and there is capacity for awareness and imagination in every human being. But it doesn't mean in every human being it is to the same extent. Some human beings have great capacity for thinking, others less. Someone has a lot of imagination, somebody has less, right? So there are also these variations. We stand on the same ground, but we are not identical. We are different from each other. When you arrive at a deeper truth or causation, it's not only in you, it is for whole of humanity. But you have to work on it and solve your equation under your boundary conditions, if I might use mathematical language. Yeah? So you have to be aware of what your swabhava and nature is, and for you what is true in that. So it is both universal and personal, if I may say so.
But sir, if with respect to the boundary conditions, my need for opposite person may look like greedy, and his greedy may look need for me.
Don't worry about how it looks to other people. you can send me. See sir, if you enter into the field of greed, it will produce disappointment and pain here. It's telling you that you have gone beyond the level of need. As soon as you bring in psychological elements, it brings disorder into consciousness. That is the galvanometer, if you like. A galvanometer is used to detect current. Here you can use that galvanometer, that it will produce some conflict, some pain, some frustration, some anxiety, which is very perceptible. All these negative emotions create some kind of pain which is very perceptible. That pain, do I use it as an informant that Krishna, something is not all right in your understanding, your mind is not clear, find out why it is not clear? Or do I treat it as a nuisance, saying this, oh, why has this come, I must get rid of it, take an aspirin or do something, just cope with it, or escape into pleasure and so on. Then you are not learning, you are not interested in learning about yourself. But if you are interested in learning, and that is where I think Krishnaji differed from almost all the religions, he has said something which is very both paradoxical and heretical. He said that jealousy is a jewel. Is a jewel because it's informing you that your mind is not free from comparison. Watch it, learn from it, free yourself of the causation of jealousy, and you have progressed in your understanding of yourself. Right? If you treat it as a jewel and look at it, but you treat it as a nuisance, you hide it, you escape from it, or you suppress it, you don't learn about it. So he said all these things, just be yourself, watch yourself and learn it. Treat this laboratory is your learning ground. As he said also for the Krishnamurti school, that the whole place is a place for learning. Children are also learning, the teachers are also learning. What are you learning about? What is right living? We don't know what that right living is. The Krishnamurti school is an experiment in right living, if you like. These are not his words, these are my descriptions. but that's what I have understood. He's saying, you have a small microcosm of society here. You have some 300 children, 50 teachers, and 100 other employees all staying on one campus. In the life there are these differences of opinion, likes and dislikes, hurt, everything is taking place. Learn from all that, learn from all that. Learn means find out the causation, what is the illusion in your mind from which this hurt arises. Get rid of it, that learning. As also the academic learning, because that is also necessary. So he demanded excellence both in the field of knowledge and skills, as everywhere in society, but also excellence at the level of consciousness, which is the art of living. So we have all to learn that. The adults also don't know, the children also don't know, but we can inquire together and learn together. And if we are doing that, it's a religious place, because he said the learning mind is the religious mind. Particularly not the academic learning mind, the mind that is engaged in self-knowledge is a religious mind.
So I think we'll wait. So Professor Krishna is one of us here, but I would still like to thank you for coming here and accepting to talk to us. And
you know what he's saying? The right hand can thank the left hand.
That's true. So come more often and spend more time with us. I think we are enriched by this experience. So now what we'll do is we'll have tea, and the book sale will be on, and Professor Krishna is here. He can also have tea, and while he's having tea, he can talk to anybody who wants to ask any questions or...
That's difficult, because you can use your mouth either to eat and drink or to speak. Attempt it.
So we will not be coming back for another video or audio session. We can be here and interact with each other, and Professor Krishna look at the books, have tea, and at 12:15 we'll be proceeding to the dining hall for lunch. And then the buses will leave at I think around 1:30. Is that sufficient time? Okay.
So we are free for 45 minutes. Let's enjoy ourselves.